The Adani Hindenburg battle has become a full blown war between the government and the opposition. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Parliament now, for days, has been dominated by the Adani Hindenburg battle. The opposition is taking on the government and accusing the government of favoritism towards the Adani coup. The Prime Minister, in his replies, has completely avoided the subject. In fact, in the Rajya Sabha today, members screamed and shouted slogans saying Adani, Modi, and pointing to what they alleged was a very, very close relationship between the two men. The Prime Minister retorted, saying, Jitna कीचड़ फेंकोगे उतना lotus bloom hoga, referencing, of course, the party symbol of the BJP. Now, at the front line of the opposition's attack on this issue has been Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament Mahua Moitra, who actually carried a topi to Parliament during her speech, a symbol she said for what she called the Adani group topi pehnawing or duping the government and the agencies. Later, Ms. Moitra was at the receiving end of attacks from the BJP for using what they called a cuss word. She refused to take it back, saying she would not call an apple an orange and that she had been heckled by the said BJP MP she'd used the word against through her speech. To talk about why she carried that topi to Parliament, why she used the word she did, and why she is saying on Twitter today that she feels vindicated. Let's go across now to our newsmaker on the program, Mahua Moitra. Mahua, great to see you. Can I just request you to lean forward a little bit so we can see more of you? There you are.
Sure.
Uh, okay. Good to see you. Talk a little bit about why uh, you believe today that you have been vindicated.
Barkha, it's not just today. I had brought up the Adani issue from 2019. And right at the very beginning, I want to put something out. There's all this chatter on the market. There are about 12 people calling me saying, oh, the Adanis believe you're being funded by Ambani. Everyone's asking me, what are you doing this for? What are you getting out of it? And I think it's a very sad state in India today that I think people just doing the right thing are in such a small number that whenever you do something which is motivated by, I don't like market manipulation. I don't like someone, taking the market for a ride and taking retail investors for a ride. But I want to say that no, I'm not being funded by Reliance. I'm not being funded by any third party. I'm simply doing this because, as a financial analyst, as a banker, this is something that really struck me not today, but even 3 years ago. So I feel vindicated because 3 years ago I had pointed this out and I had spoken in Parliament. I had written letters in 2019, in 20, in 21, in 22 to everybody from the Ministry of Finance, the Finance Minister, the Enforcement Directorate, the CVC, repeated letters to the SEBI saying exactly the things that have been pointed out in this Wall Street report. The most important is that this company's shareholding structure is completely red flagged. When a company has 25, it is allowed to be public if it has 25% free float. In this case, whatever the free float is, most of it is held by these Mauritius-based funds who have huge investments. These funds have common shareholders, have common directors, have a common address. Who owns these funds? You don't know. What do these funds own? They own only Adani stock. In 11 years, have these funds bought or sold Adani stock? No, they've just held on to their position. When you see other things in this, the round tripping in the stock that's going on, the over invoicing, what it says is that there's complete market manipulation of the stock. And all I've asked is, can there be a SEBI investigation? It is not for my job, Mahua Moitra, as a parliamentarian for a rural area, to do a Sherlock Holmes detective or a forensic audit of this. It's not my job. We have an independent regulator to do this. I flagged all these issues in Adani ports, in the Dhamra terminal, which they got without a tender, and said, can you please look into this? Nobody did anything. Today, when this report from a US Wall Street short seller came out and everyone suddenly realized that there's something wrong, everyone jumped on the bandwagon and now they're like, okay, Adani, there's something going on. So yes, I feel vindicated because I have brought this up right from 2019. So
Yeah.
long answer, Barkha, to a simple question. Sorry.
No, that's fine. The long answers are good and needed in this debate. You actually cited the MSCI talking about how certain Adani securities cannot be designated free float anymore. You also spoke
Yes,
about Total Energies putting their investment on hold, and you said, why isn't
yes,
LIC doing the same? And then you
right.
ended your Twitter argument by saying, where is SEBI? Now, SEBI has indicated that an inquiry has begun. Why do you not trust SEBI to do its job at this point?
Okay, shall I tell you something? In 2019, when I wrote to SEBI, SEBI sent me a letter saying we'll look into an investigation. The finance, so sorry, SEBI didn't send me a letter. When I said please start an investigation, I also put in a parliament question. I got a reply in parliament, which I've actually put up on Twitter, which says that SEBI has initiated an inquiry. I have heard
This was
nothing about this.
2019. This was
This was
2019.
2019 and repeated by the Ministry of Finance in 2021, saying that that they're putting in. When Hindenburg, if you read the Hindenburg report, Hindenburg put in an RTI to the SEBI saying that the parliamentarian Mahua Moitra asked this question, wrote this letter to you on such and such day. What is your answer? SEBI, in the reply to that RTI to Hindenburg, and it's in their report, if you look at their report, they said we have not reached a logical conclusion. And Hindenburg very cheekily says, even if SEBI hasn't, we have. And they put it out there. So I want to tell you this. I brought it up in 19, I've written to them. In 21, I've written to them. I've got an answer from the Ministry of Finance saying that an ongoing investigation is there. And for the past 3 years, we have heard not a peep out of this. When Adani Wilmar was going to be IPO'd, I actually wrote a letter which is put up on the website saying that there are FPIs holding funky shareholding in other companies. Till you sort this, how can you allow another group entity to go public when they are manipulating the free float? Nothing from them whatsoever. Wrote to the CBC, nothing from them whatsoever. When a 20,000 crore FPO is coming out, and there is an impending SEBI investigation that the Ministry of Finance has informed me that SEBI is doing. SEBI has even told Hindenburg that they are doing a thing for which a logical conclusion they haven't reached. Why would you allow such a large FPO to go through? What's the answer? So, do you expect me to have any faith in SEBI?
Well, the FPO has been since cancelled, even though it was fully subscribed, but minus retail investors.
No, it doesn't work like that. You see, what happened is you have a retail chunk, right? So say 10%, 20,000 crores, 2,000 crore is retail. Then you have foreign institutional investors, you have domestic institutional investors, you have something called NIIs, which are non-institutional investors. Now, retail on the first day, there was only 1% of the 2,000 crores which was picked up. The second or third day, there was only 2%. Obviously, retail wasn't buying. But to fill the 20,000 crores, you can use the FIIs, the DIIs, and the NIIs. In this case, they made calls to the Ambanis, they made calls to Torrent Pharma, they made calls to Airtel, they made calls to other companies, and they subscribed the domestic, the non-institutional investor part. So even if they didn't get the 2,000 crores from retail because they filled it up on the other 18,000 crores, they were able to be fully subscribed. So they were cancelled because you see what happened was the band for the FPO was 3,100 to 3,300. Now, before the FPO was, when the FPO was on the market, the share started trading at 2,300. So obviously somebody's taking this. How are you going to pay them back? Most people have structured loans to have put in this kind of money. Reliance was not going to put up 2,000 crores cash into this. Sunil Mittal isn't going to put up 500 crores cash into this. So these were all structured debts that they probably would have to be repaid by the Adanis. And if your stock is trading is 2,300, does it make sense to get into it at 3,100? So they're cancelling their FPO was to do with simple mathematics. It had nothing to do with any regulatory oversight. And that's the sad part of it.
Okay, let's. There's lots of questions about Adani, but because we have limited time, I want to talk to you first about the topi that you carry to Parliament. It's obviously a symbol, yes. And you say that the Adani group has topi pehnawed everybody. The topi, some would say, hey, Mahua Moitra, it's clever, but it's gimmicky. What was the importance of the topi?
You know, it's clever, but it's gimmicky. Yes, I completely understand that. And it's actually the very first time that I've actually brought what they call an object into Parliament. But, I really wanted to tell people that it's been a complete charade. Everybody has been fooled. Like they say, you can fool some people some of the time and all people some of the time. But this case has been all people most of the time. So I really wanted to, and everyone says, oh, he's close. I don't want to blame the Prime Minister. I don't believe the Prime Minister, everyone's not a financial. If I explain this to my mother, she can't understand it. I mean, the Prime Minister is a mass leader. The Prime Minister is not necessarily a financial analyst and maybe can't understand all the arcane wizardry that goes behind this. So my point is, look, I'm not blaming the Prime Minister. I'm giving you a way out, Mr. Prime Minister. I am telling you that maybe you've been fooled also. Maybe you've been told people now this person has, you probably don't want to be close to him, but the perception is that he's very close to you. And do you want to be close to somebody who's pumping up valuations and manipulating the market? When I look at the airports and I'm looking at civil aviation, I said, yes, you've been topipen out, you've been fooled because he has bid for the highest for 6 airports at a COVID time when the other bidders couldn't bid. So suppose he's bid 100 rupees. Now GMR, all the other bidders bid 80 rupees because they were like, you know what? There's going to be low traffic due to COVID. We can't bid 100. These guys went in, bid 100 and said, okay, we have won it. After they've won it, they went and told the airports authority, oh, by the way, it's COVID, so we're going to declare force majeure, which is unforeseen circumstances. So can we delay paying you what we owe you? And they said, yes, of course you can. So the other people also, what are they fools? They should have also bid 100 and then claim delayed payments, right? So you see, everybody has been fooled, like Dhamra Terminal, LNG Terminal, Ministry of Petroleum, IOC and GAIL built their own terminal, same capacity for 5,000 crores. They've been forced to come out of to exit the Dhamra bidding, forced to pay 46,500 crores to Adani to buy the gas from him. They could have built it themselves at 1/3 the price. Why the hell are they going to get in at 1/6 the price?
And when you say everybody's been fooled, you're giving the benefit of the doubt here to the Prime Minister, where you're saying...
so even people are saying you're attacking the Prime Minister, I said it's just the opposite. I'm actually giving him a way out. I'm giving him a way out. I think it's high time the Prime Minister should look at whether it's worth it to back Adani or not and actually be like, you know what, I'm cutting you loose. If you're a statesman, if you're caring about the country and the stink of crony capitalism, I believe the Prime Minister is a clean man. If he's a clean man, if he's anti-corruption, and then if the stink of crony capitalism is going to come on him because of one businessman, if I were the Prime Minister, I'd cut him loose. I'd be like, you know what? That's far no further. I cut you loose.
The Prime Minister today shouted down opposition slogans about Adani and Modi. Do you think this is appropriate? I've covered Parliament for, I don't know, more than 2 decades, and I've never seen the Prime Minister being shouted down in the way that he was today in the Rajya Sabha.
Okay, you know what? We need answers. Tell me something. Everyone talks about parliamentary etiquette and parliamentary decorum, and every single person who's sitting in the chair of the speaker, be it the speaker, be it the chairperson, is all about reminding us and reminding the opposition about the maryada and the garima and what have you. I want to ask you one simple question. The House belongs to the opposition, right? They have reduced parliament time where it should be at least 180 days to something like which is even less than 100 days. Even that, every session is curtailed. There is no room for us to ask any questions. And even if we ask questions, we are shut up. We are heckled continuously. And the ruling party and the treasury benches give us no answers. So that's not parliamentary etiquette. We have asked very basic questions. What we've asked is something, had we been allowed to ask it in 2019, Indian investors wouldn't have lost $100 billion in market cap. We wouldn't have come out looking like fools on the global stage. We have great companies. We have a Mahindra, we have a Wipro, we have the Tatas. We have great companies which raise funds on international markets. And when a regulatory body like the SEBI is coming out and not saying anything against something as big as this, when Total has put its investment on hold, when the Nikkei does an investigation and says that these people's debt is 1% of the Indian economy, which is a very large number, you know, this has an effect on Indian markets. It has an effect on global investors. So in something like this, do you think it is right that they don't answer? They are heckling us. Did you see me speak in Parliament yesterday? They heckle us non-stop. So what do you mean?
That was going to be my next question. Of course, I saw you speak in Parliament. You were heckled. Yes. You carried on. You powered on through that heckling. And then you used a kind of Hindi gali, for which you are being roasted now over the coals and you're refusing to apologize.
What is the gali? What is the gali? The word haram, as far as I understand, the word haram means something which is sinful, something which is forbidden. And the word harami, the literal translation of it is a sinner. That's what it means. In my understanding of the Arabic root of the word, in my understanding of it, now if somebody assumes it to mean X or mean Y, that's not my problem. I didn't say it in my speech. This person spoke continuously and heckled me all through the speech. It is only by sheer dint of my sort of mental willpower and my powers of concentration that I even finished the speech. Anyone less than me, I think, would have sat down halfway. I appealed to the chairperson 5 times, probably more, saying either shut him up or throw him out. The chairperson failed in his duty. As a parliamentarian, I have the right of protection, which they did not give me. Second, my speech was over. Ram Naidu started speaking. The man still didn't shut up. He still kept on with his monkey tactics. So I looked at him and I called him the name because what he was doing is forbidden. Harami is somebody who does something forbidden. Now, I'm not a Hindi speaker, they in their Hindi find some other meaning for it about mother and father and what have you, not my problem. Not my problem. Like I said, if the shoe fits, wear it. The shoe fits, wear it. And by the way, all the other BJP people, came and told me, "Aapne usko bola, bahut acha kiya." He called, do you know, he called farmers pimps. Do you know this? I put up tweeted the video. This is a man who beats up his own people. He's been showcased by the BJP for violence against his own people. Delhi MPs have come and told me, "Arey, aapka speech so shandar tha, par aapne jo biduri ko bola, wo to fantastic tha." I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying when we're not given protection inside the house continuously, and then they're roasting me, I don't care. If you want to make a heroine out of me, good luck to you. I don't care.
And if they proceed formally within Parliament against the use of this word by you?
They can't proceed formally. They haven't a leg to stand on. They can't proceed formally because I didn't say it on record and I didn't say it in the mic. Right? They had no business even putting it out there. I didn't say it formally. I didn't say it in the mic.
Now you're being a lawyer. Now you're being a lawyer, right?
Yes, of course. And if they should have proceeded, they should have proceeded yesterday. Why didn't they proceed? Please take it to the Privileges Committee. I have 4 privilege notices pending, including one against your friend Sudhir Chaudhary, which they've ignored. So if they bring this one up, I've got one against
my friend.
I just thought I'd put that one in.
This is you like metaphors and ironies and all of that and a sardonic tone.
Yes, but okay, listen. Like I said yesterday, good luck to them. Good luck to them. Try and do something, As far as I'm concerned, what I said in Parliament was important, and I think we should stick to that. And, in the middle, if I had a little bit of fun calling out somebody who was doing forbidden things, then I think I deserve a clap for that.
You deserve a clap, not the roasting you're getting.
No, for my speech, I deserve a clap, of course.
For your speech, but for the word you used? For the word
I used, like I said, if the shoe fits, wear it.
Okay, so no regrets there. Clearly, you're ready to face whatever comes next. Let me ask you this, Mahua. We have just a couple of minutes left. My question to you is this. What specifically do you think is the government accountability on this issue? When you say that you're giving the Prime Minister a way out, the Prime Minister chose not to address any of these points that have been raised by the opposition. What specifically do you think is his answerability?
Look, when we talk about the government, there are arms of the government. So when we're talking about the finance ministry, the SEBI reports or regulatory bodies report to the finance ministry. Okay, the MHA is the body, the Minister of Home Affairs is responsible for giving clearance to any bidder that is buying a fort or an airport. So when you have a bidder that has got 50,000 crores of investment from Mauritius-based funds that you don't know who owns them, how are you giving them clearance to go ahead and buy your airports? How? It could be owned by some Chinese. It could be owned by anybody. Where's the security? What is the government doing? I think there should be an immediate investigation by the SEBI into all the round-tripping allegations, into the stock pumping, into the over-invoicing, into everything that we brought up. This is not a company like the MSCI said today, what I've been saying for 3 years. This company's free float is not its free float. Everything that you think is owned by normal people is actually owned by people linked to the promoter. So they can manipulate their stock. So what the government should do is ask the SEBI to do an immediate, full and fair investigation into this, have the ED look into this, have the Minister of Home Affairs go back and look at the clearance that they've given to them. And the Trinamool Congress would like a court-monitored investigation into this, would like a Supreme Court monitored investigation into this. That's all that the government needs to do. They don't need to be personally liable for his net worth or all his wrongdoings. Nobody's asking for that. Just get this institutional structure to work. Get the regulatory mechanism to work. Don't push it under the table, under Kichad and Gali and this and that. You're just deflecting. And, this is the LIC that has got 36,000 crores on the table. This is the State Bank of India. PSU banks have 80,000 crores in this company. It's not a joke.
Okay, now Mahua, I have precisely 2 minutes left with you. So before I ask you my last two questions, I want to just play for our audience just a bit of your speech, and then we'll come back to you for a final comment or two. So let's listen into Mahua
I
Moitra.
will only say,
Yeah,
I
let's
will
play.
only say that we've only been fooled. I have brought this
I'm coming
topi
back.
with
No, don't
me
take me
because
out.
this man has topi out this wonderful nation. I will start with wearing this topi. I have some extra for others who feel the same. When a Russian company was taking over an oil refinery from an Indian business, it was not an attack on India. When Mumbai's electricity was taken over with funds from Qatar, it was not an attack on India. The pride of India lies not in the wealth of one individual. The pride of India lies in the robustness of its institutional structures.
Okay, so that was just a sense, a flavor, as it were, of your topi pehnawing comment. One question I have for you that is being raised by the BJP is that Mr. Adani has investments in several of the states that are managed by opposition governed by opposition parties. A picture doing the rounds is one of Mr. Adani with Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, your party leader, others with Ashok Gehlot. We'll play those pictures shortly. The BJP says if the opposition feels so strongly about Mr. Adani, why don't they lead by example in their own states? If he's such a, if he's such a deceiver, as you have said, why don't you act against him in Bengal?
1 second, 1 second. It is not the job of we have a port called the Tajpur port that has been put out to be bid. Mr. Adani has emerged as the highest bidder. He has outbid Mr. Sajjan Jindal. He has outbid, I think, Dubai Ports. He has outbid the other bidders there. He has emerged as the highest bidder there. Now, the way this works is if he's emerged as the highest bidder, then he can take the port. What has the Bengal chief minister got to do with this? Now, what comes in is his company equipped to take the port? And that's something that SEBI needs to look after. Is his company going to pass MHA clearance for taking over an infrastructure port? That is something that the MHA will do. What if an investor is coming to the state? What does the chief minister have to do with it? If he has won the airports as the highest bidder, I don't have a problem with that. My problem is the fact that he's won it as a highest bidder and then pulled force majeure on Airports Authority of India. We have no problem if he's coming and emerged as the highest bidder for Tajpur or for Mundra or for X or Y. If he had emerged as the highest bidder for Dhamra, we'd have no problem. He got it without a tender. He has got Tajpur by emerging as the highest bidder from a tender. I mean, only somebody who totally doesn't understand ABC of anything, I mean, which is basically what the Chaddi Brigade is, Barkha, will put this up. Right? I mean, it's very easy putting a photo on WhatsApp that two people are shaking hands and putting it up, like I said, right? It's easy. Yeah. It's like if tomorrow you meet Mukesh Ambani at a party and he says hello to me, there'll be some BJP snoop taking a photo of it, and tomorrow it will be on the front page saying Mahua Moitra funded by Ambani. I mean, it's as ridiculous as that, right? So he's won it by tender. But SEBI should investigate whether he can go ahead with it.
But then, at the same time, you say you don't trust SEBI to do its job. You've even called out conflict of interest.
Why hasn't SEBI done its job? My point is, why hasn't SEBI done its job? Do we have a better option? We don't. We don't have a better option. SEBI is the only regulatory mechanism left, but they should do an investigation. They have not done it till now.
And another point in the end is that while Adani says he's going to be paying 8,000 crores worth of loan against pledged shares in the next 45 days, you are raising questions already about how we actually don't know.
That's a lie. That was a complete lie, because he put out something saying that I'm prepaying 1.1 billion as though it was to assuage market sentiment. That was a complete lie. It was actually a margin call. So when you have borrowed against your shares, so what you've done is suppose your shares are trading at 3,000 rupees, right? Yeah, so you've taken a share, you pledged it at the jeweler, and you bought a pair of earrings for 3,000 rupees against those shares. Tomorrow your shares have tanked, they are worth 2,000 rupees. The jeweler comes to you and says, hello, can you give me 1,000 rupees? Because you left me something worth 3,000, you have the earring worth 3,000, but your shares are worth 2,000. So that's what is called a margin call. So in this case, he had pledged shares and he suddenly got margin calls because his stock price tanked by half. So he was not doing anything great and anything moral by prepaying and, assuaging the market. He had got a margin call. So it was a complete misleading the market. So when that came out yesterday, today, Adani Enterprises is down 12%. All his stocks have hit the lower circuit.
Yeah.
You can't fool the market continuously. Look, this is something, it's not my job. Like I've said, this is not my job. This is not the opposition's job. I cannot sit here and go through a balance sheet and figure out, I did that in my past life. That's not my job today as an opposition MP. We're asking the regulator to do its job. That's all we're asking. Because the systemic stability of Indian markets is at risk, and retail investors' money is at risk, and public sector undertakings' money is at risk. This is a larger problem, Mr. Prime Minister, and we're telling the government, please get your act together. We're not pointing fingers at you, but just do your job.
I'm glad you referred to your earlier life, because there might be many people who don't know the kind of financial markets expertise that you do come from before you came into politics. Mahua Moitra, thank you. We're going to let you go. The story isn't going anywhere, but it's been a pleasure talking to you. Take care.
Thank you, Barkha.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.